Well, that was really interesting. After watching Jack talk about aging, my first thought was that everyone ages differently, and I think men and women age differently as well. Um, when men retire, it seems I've heard that they drive their wives crazy because they are lost of what to do. They fish, or they hunt, or they play golf, or they just sit around and watch TV. But they're not really very creative, I don't think. Um, and also, my mother actually had this saying that you're only as old as you feel. And sometimes I feel 40, and I'm not. And sometimes I feel 140. So it really depends on attitude, day, mood, life, all kinds of elements. Um, when you're young, you really don't think about aging very much. I certainly didn't. And I try not to think about it a lot now either. Um, I just had a birthday, and I'm 73. I don't want to admit that, but I have to myself. And um, my mother's friend, actually her name was Anne. She lived to be 101. It was an amazing woman. She used to dance. She was like 80 or 90. I knew her forever. My mother had her for friend forever. And Anne would dance and sing and do the splits even. I mean, it was just, my mother passed before Anne did. And my mother was just almost turned 80 when she passed. She was 79, and she would have been 80 had on her next birthday. So it was pretty at the time, and this is 40 some odd years ago now, or more. Uh, the 80 was a pretty good age. 101 was incredible. I mean, just you just don't think about it. People don't talk about it much. Um, I pride myself on my memory. I've always prided myself on remembering incidents and things and people. Not sometimes have a hard time recognizing the name that goes with the person, but I met a young lady at the bank actually recently. Her name, she knew my name, but I didn't know her. So when I asked her name, she said Lacey, like in lace curtain, which is the first thing I thought of. And I told her, she was trying to remember everybody's name. She was fairly new, and she wanted to get to know the people that banked at the bank. So I told her the way I try to remember names in particular is, and she told me her name was Lacey. I said, well, I think of lace curtains, and that's how I remember your name. And she goes, wow, that's cool. She said, I think, I told her, think of something that you'll recognize to go with that person, and you'll remember, you should remember your name. Anyway, I find that I'm scared to death of having Alzheimer's and losing my memory. And so I work crossword puzzles. I do bookkeeping and bank reconciliation and budgets. Um, I make notes like this one. Obviously, I find if I write things down, sorry, if I write things down, I remember them a lot more than if I don't write it down. And so you might try that. Um, like I said, I write notes to myself. I play games on the computer. There are a lot of games, and there are people that you can chat with if you find somebody that you like. Um, I love to look at new. Sorry. I like to look at recipe books and find new ways to make new things, and 101 ways to make chicken or pork, and sometimes it really turns out good. I had a great pork dish not too long ago. Um, we also find, or I certainly find, that when you hurt yourself with a scratch, or you happen to fall down, which I try not to, very important not to fall, you heal. Your wound heals really, really slow. And as you get older, it's slower. And when you're young, everything seems to heal like right away, but not when you're older. So it affects your whole body with aging process, your eyes and your ears, and I have a good sense of smell, um, so that sometimes compensates for other things I don't do so well, or have senses. You know, there's supposed to be five of them. um, Excuse me a moment. Okay, I have a little note on the children, and there are six. There are my three and Jack's three, and I stepchildren. I never, even from the very first day, when they were 12 going on 13 and 13 going on 14, 14, although the oldest was turning 14. It was more like she was 43, but the mother, Stacy, and she was just really protective of her father. But I never called them stepchildren. They're always my children, and we're quite close for being a stepmom. So I have lots of stories actually about that, but I'm not going to go into that today. I just wanted to mention that it's not easy being a mom. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, communication, and you get older. You don't, sometimes you don't keep up with your kids because you feel older than. I still remember when my son turned, I think he turned 40, and he called me and he goes, "Oh my God, I turned 40." And it was like life threatening to him. And I was like, "Yes, Michael, I know how old you are. I was there." And he was just beside himself. He couldn't believe he was that old. So it takes a few minutes sometimes to get used to it. We never hit them, any of the children. At least Jack and I didn't. Um, their dad, who I divorced for abuse, was the abuser, and he did hit the children, and I'm sorry for that. But we gave them time out. We took away some privileges like television or dating or party, certainly. So we didn't believe in hitting, and then they are really great kids now. They all have their own. We have, like Jack said, 11 grandchildren, and they're learning that it's not easy being a parent or mother. Certainly, my daughters are, all four of them, and they were all teens actually when Jack and I met, and having six teenagers in one house. Be my guest and try it out. I mean, it's just an amazing process to watch, and they've all turned out to be really great kids and responsible and pretty happy under the circumstances that today's world seems to be in. We're in 2011, and jobs are hard to find. Money is tight. They're all struggling, all busy, most working. I think they're all working actually. Now that I think of it, um, so they're struggling, and they now know what it's like to be a parent and grow old, older. I don't want to keep saying old because I like the word older better. Not old. I'm not old. I'm older than I was before. There was a song actually that went like that. I forgot the words actually now. I thought of them last night. Uh, we have a power of attorney, Jack and I, and a will that gives our children rights to the home and the property because everything here is under probate. So we left a will. It's a beneficiary of a will, basically. There's a correct law term, but we won't go through probate when we pass. And we have made arrangements for a funeral of sorts. We have devoted our bodies to science in a way. Genesis, it's called, and it's a really cool program. You might look into it if you think of it. The problem, I think, bottom line, is not a lot of people want to talk about death or dying or wills or probate or so I don't dwell on it. It just was a topic. I thought that's a line about he doesn't remember being 80 and taking notes. I thought it was really cute, and I did take notes actually. So you might think about certainly you should have a will. Absolutely, whether you live in a probate state that gives your money to attorneys and lawyers, and I said that anyway. To the state, you leave it to your children or to a friend or somebody, and don't just leave it till when you no longer care. So you should do it while you're still able. And our friend that we bought the house from next door, his name is John. His wife, Lorraine, is very ill, and she has been for almost a year now, I guess. Alzheimer's and bleeding ulcer. Anyway, she's very sick, and she's dying, and he has no... He had to get 3 doctors to get a power of attorney so he could care for her. And he has no... I mean, his home will go to probate. Now, actually, in this case, it's going to go to Medicare because he has an arrest home. It takes... I mean, you go there, they sell your home for what you owe them. Medicare. Government, yes, of course. Anyway, I'm not going to get into politics today. This is about being old, aging, and my thoughts on what I do, not to prevent aging, but to cope with it by being active and caring. Oh, I have cats. I have to throw in my cats. Um, I have 2, actually. Frisky, who we've had for almost, it'll be 4 years in May. And we just got, a year and a half ago, we got Grace, who's white-ish. She's getting a little dark. She's just the sweetest, most great personality ever. I've had lots of cats in my time, but she's really special to me. As Jack pointed out, I can't describe the feeling, which of course we have a hard time talking about feelings in the first place, whether it's a cat or a loved one or a child. I think feelings are the hardest thing in the world for men or women to talk about and try to explain how deep some feelings really are, like love, compassion, and growing old. I'm doing the best I can, and I hope that you have listened to what I said, and we'd like to hear some of your thoughts, of course, and getting older, maybe. So, thank you for listening. I think I'm done with what I wanted to say. I know this is shorter, but I'm not long-winded. This just seems like forever talking for me. So, have a wonderful life, live long, and be healthy. Thank you.